Hello friends, this is Dr. Technician, helping you go further, faster in motion graphics. In this time, I'm gonna show you how can make this kind of text animation, using After Effects. If you are new here, consider subscribing. Let's get into it. Coming up, open After Effects. Create a new composition. Enter name, main comp. Set the width and height. And duration, 5 seconds. Alright. Select Text tool. Type whatever you want. We can change font and size here in the character panel. And we have to place this text in the center of the screen. You can adjust from here in Align panel. Now it's time to change text to shape layer. Simply select the text layer. Right-click. From Create, choose this Create Shapes from Text. Here you can see that our text has been changed to a new shape layer. When we expand this shape layer, in Contents, we can see all letters here. Now, we have to separate them in different layers. Select the shape layer and press Ctrl and D. Press as many times as there are letters. One layer for each letters. Beside that, we have to create two separate layers for the letter I, one for I, and one for the dot of the I. That's why I created 6 separate layers. Then rename all layers one by one. Call it by letters. Select the O layer, and now we have to remove all letters except letter O from this layer. Expand O. From Contents. Delete all letters except O. Now you can see only remains in this layer is letter O. Then expand the L layer. Front Contents, delete all letters except L. Proceed this process for all letters. But, when it comes to the I layer, delete all letters except the I. Then expand this I. Here you can see 2 of it. One for the dot of the I, and other for the line of it. Select dot and delete it. Proceed same process for dot layer. But this time, delete line of the I, instead of the dot. In the end, expand the O2 layer. Delete all letters except the second O. Perfect, now you can see all letters are separated in different layers. Now let's change color of the dot and letter O. It will add some contrast to the animation. Select dot layer. Search in Effect. Fill. Drag to the dot. Change color to whatever you want. For me, this red is better. After that, select the O layer and add Fill Effect. Change color to same color of the dot. Now, let's get into the animation. Select all layers. And hold Ctrl and double-click on this pan behind tool to place anchor point in the middle of the shapes. Select the I layer. Move anchor point to bottom center of the shape. And again place anchor point of the both L's in the center bottom. Perfect. Select the I layer. And press S to open scale. Mark keyframe in the beginning of the timeline. Then move 5 frames. Again mark keyframe. Place time indicator on the first keyframe. Then remove this little chain mark. And reduce Y value of the scale to 0. For now, cut work area here. Select both keyframes. Then hold Alt and press this keyframe icon. Then copy this expression. You can find out this expression in the first comment. And paste here. Watch the result. Perfect. Move the time indicator 10 frames forward from second keyframe of the I layer. Then select L2. Press S to open the scale. Mark first keyframe here. Move 5 frames forward. Mark second keyframe. Again place time indicator on the first keyframe. And again disable this chain. And change value of Y to 0. Select both keyframes. Again hold Alt and press keyframe clock. Again copy and paste the expression here. Make the work area a little wider. Then again move the time indicator 10 frames forward. Select the first tel. And do the same process. Alright, check out the preview. Perfect. Alright, let's add some motion animation to this dot. Select the layer and press P to open the layer position. Move the time indicator about 3 seconds. And mark a keyframe. This is the last keyframe. I will change its position later as needed. OK, then place the time indicator at the exact point where the eye layer will completely visible. And move position of the dot to here. Then place the time indicator at the exact point where the second L layer will completely appear. Then drag the dot and place on L2. Then place time indicator in the middle of the both keyframes. Then reduce value of Y coordinates of the position until the dot will be here. To make this animation smoother, change keyframes to Easy Ease. Then change Pen tool to convert vertex tool. You can change holding Alt. Then click this point. And using selection tool, change this corner to a curved shape. Like this. When we move time indicator, you can see the difference. Select all keyframes and open the graph. Select center keyframe. And change graph like this. Close the graph. Then again move the time indicator until the first tel fully exposed. Then reduce X coordinates of the position until the dot reaches above the first tel shape. Place the time indicator again in the middle of these two keyframes. Then reduce Y coordinates of the position and place the dot like this. Perfect. Then change this keyframe to normal using Ctrl and left click. And the last keyframe also. Check out the preview. Perfect. Then place the time indicator around here. And drag the dot. Then place here, on the O shape. Again change middle like this. OK, but let's expand gaps between these 3 keyframes. Select 3 keyframes, and drag with holding Alt. Perfect. Alright, for now, let's stop the animation of the dot here. Let's move on to the animation of the letter O. Then make sure no layer is selected. Select the ellipse tool. And draw an ellipse shape over the letter O. Make sure fill is none. And stroke is solid color. Then make it the same size of the letter O. Then change color to same color of the dot. Delete the first O shape. Then change name of the new shape to O. Then add a trim path to this layer. Expand the trim path. Change end value of the shape around to this value. Then move time indicator until the dot touches the ellipse path. Then increase the offset value until the beginning of the circle is from the dot. Then mark keyframe for end here, and change value of the end to 0. Then move the time indicator a little bit. And change the end to 100. Change second keyframe to Easy Ease. Now we have to change this edge to a round shape. Expand ellipse 1, then stroke 1. Change line cap to round cap. Increase offset value a little bit. Perfect. Close the O shape. Press P on the dot to open position. Move the time indicator until the O shape is about to this size. Then drag the dot and place it here. Alright. Place the time indicator at the 2 seconds. Then click on the last keyframe that we already created, and drag it to 2 seconds. Then place the time indicator in the middle of the last 2 keyframes. Then change value of X coordinates of the position, and place the dot here. But it's too quick. Select last 3 keyframes. Then expand gaps between the keyframes with holding Alt. Perfect. Change last keyframe to Easy Ease. Select last 2 keyframes and open Graph. And change the graph like this. Perfect. Close the graph. Then select the dot layer. And press T to open opacity. Place the time indicator here. Mark a keyframe and reduce opacity to 0. Move 1 frame forward. Increase the opacity to 100. Look at the result. Then place time indicator here, when it touches the letter O. Mark a keyframe here. Again move forward 1 frame. Reduce the opacity to 0. After that, move the time indicator to the exact point where the dot jumps from the letter O. Mark a keyframe here. Once again move forward 1 frame, change value to 100. Perfect. Then place time indicator at the exact point where the dot reaches its original position. Select the eye layer and press S to open the scale. Mark a keyframe here. Move the time indicator a little forward. Reduce X coordinates of the scale to about 80. Then again move the time indicator a little bit. Increase the scale value to 100. Watch the preview. Perfect. Then select the dot layer. And press P to open position. Move the time indicator. And place it at the middle keyframe of the scale of the eye. Then mark a keyframe for position of the dot layer. After that place time indicator on the previous keyframe. Then pull the dot down a little. Perfect. Close all the layers. Now we're going to animate this second O. Place the time indicator at the point where the animation of the eye ends. Make sure no layers are selected. Select Rectangle tool, then draw a rectangle on the last O. Here, change Fill to Solid Color. And Stroke to None. Then place this rectangle right down of the letter O. Rename this layer, Mask. Then select O2 layer. Then using Pan Behind tool, place the anchor point in the bottom left corner. Select the mask layer, and place it above the O2 layer. Select the O2 layer, and press R to open rotation. Mark a keyframe here. Move the time indicator a little forward. Mark the last keyframe. Place the time indicator on the first keyframe. Then change the rotation value like this. OK, but here, you can see a small piece of the letter O. To solve this, select Pan Behind tool, place anchor point of the mask at the center. Then make it a little bigger. And move a little to the right. Perfect. Select these 2 keyframes. Press this keyframe with holding Alt. Then again copy the expression. And paste here. Expand expression. And change amplitude value to 0.100. And increase the decay to 4. Look at the preview. Perfect. Now select the O2 layer. Then change its track matte to mask. Enable this to change to inverted track matte. Check the preview. Perfect. Finally, let's make some more animation to make it look cool. Some lines come with these letters as reactions. OK, set the time indicator here. When the letter I completely visible. Then make sure no layer is selected, and choose the pen tool. Draw a line next to the letter I. Change fill to none. Change stroke color to any color you want. And keep stroke size 2 pixel. Change name of the shape layer. Reaction. From contents of the reaction layer, select Shape 1, and add trim paths. Expand trim paths. Mark keyframes for start and end. Change both to 100%. Then move the time indicator backward. And place here. When only some parts of the eye are visible. Reduce both values to 0. Change keyframe to Easy Ease. Then select keyframes of starts, and drag them forward a little. Perfect. Select all keyframes. And open the graph. Select all the keyframes and change graph like this. Close the graph. Cut the work area here. Check the preview. Perfect. Press Ctrl and D on Shape 1 to duplicate it. And move the duplicate shape to the opposite side using Selection tool. Perfect. That's good. Then do the same process for all the layers. To reduce the length of the video, I'm skipping that part. When you do this on the O shape, try to draw the line in a slightly curved shape. After doing all that, the end result will be like this. Perfect. This is how can we make this kind of logo animation. If you get any progress using this video, give a thumbs up. Definitely subscribe for more videos like this. And until next time, this is Dr. Technician. Keep crushing it. We will talk soon.